Hello, everyone. My name is Fabian. I'm the Director of Teacher Support and Instructional Technology here at Robotel. I am a language learner of English myself. My mother tongue is German, and I've also taught for 11 years as a foreign language immersion teacher in Milwaukee. I have here today my colleague, Melissa, and together we're excited to explore SmartClass Teaching Platform with you. Melissa, please tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, so my name is Melissa. I'm an education consultant and trainer here at Robotel. I also taught for 16 years in an immersion school, really focused on the students and increasing their confidence in speaking in another language, especially because we spoke all day. But SmartClass really allowed me to keep the students engaged, especially during COVID, when we weren't together in our typical classroom setting.
Great, thank you for that, Melissa. Can you also tell us a little bit about your teaching background?
So I was in the same classroom for so long. What was really important is for students to really be involved in the learning, practicing the language, not just sitting there, writing and listening to me speak. They were able to gain a lot of confidence through that practice, and all the feedback they were able to get. And it really allowed them to be independent and reflective, and it just provided for a greater learning experience.
Oh, that's really good points that you're mentioning. We know that SmartClass is an innovative solution to support language teaching. SmartClass also increases the opportunities for students to produce in the foreign language, and it can be used in various ways. Learners can use it from home as homework. They can use it in class. But they can also use it as a teaching tool with grammar, charts, videos, and cultural notes. Can you tell us a little bit more how teachers would interact with SmartClass?
Sure. So what's great is teachers really have full control over activities, whether they were created, our SmartClass curriculum, or activities that they create on their own, and they can all do it in the same space and really tailor everything to their students' needs. So they can create those activities, organize and assign them. They can grade and give feedback, and then even monitor student progress with our usage report. And what's great about the usage report is that students also have access to their own usage, so they're really being reflective and investing in their learning and growth.
Wow, awesome. That sounds great. Can you give us a sneak peek of SmartClass? I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen and give you a look at what that teacher platform looks like. I'll start off and you'll see the dashboard where we can, again, create our own content as teachers or use our SmartClass content. So opening up to a class, you'll see folders of activities, and that'll be highlighted in another webinar. But just going to the screen where teachers are able to use materials that they've downloaded, and used for years, I just quickly grabbed an audio of silly animal sounds, and I'm going to click on it so that you see we call it our activity wizard. And this is where we build whatever activity we want around whatever we upload. So we have a lot of options, viewing just if there is ever a piece of stimuli that we want students just to look at and, maybe study from, whether it's a vocabulary list or a project description, whatever it is, that's that viewing option. We also have different writing activities, whether it be open text or question and answer, just allowing students to respond typing form. That would be an activity that teachers would need to grade. We really are excited about our quizzes. These are all of our auto-graded activities. So really saving time, for the teacher. There's no need for them to have to grade every single activity, but also really great for students because they complete the activity and they immediately get that score. So that immediate feedback that teachers can even later leave additional feedback too. So I'm really excited, all the different options of things you can upload and then create all of these different quiz formats to really engage students. We also have multiple speaking activities, open recording, segmented recording, and the continuous recording, all a little different and very unique in how students engage and record their audio responses. We have a couple of video options, and then we also have pronunciation, which uses artificial intelligence to give that example of what the sentence or word should sound like, and allows the students to speak and get that feedback immediately from artificial intelligence. So really quickly, I'm just going to create a speaking activity so that you see that it's going to upload, and I'm just going to leave some instructions like listen to the audio and describe what you hear, so that you see in a matter of seconds I can create an activity. And then that next step is really easy. I'm just going to move that activity over into a folder. So if you see a lot of, this is our A2 level English curriculum, I'm just going to scroll down into a different folder and show you. I have some examples of some different activities I also want to highlight, but this is how simple it is. I've created that activity, and then I'm going to move it into a folder so that when I'm ready, everything in this folder gets assigned at the same time. So I mentioned some of those unique activities. I just want to highlight a couple. Again, like our pronunciation we like. Again, it's using vocabulary that we've uploaded in our content, but it's always something very easy for teachers to create on their own, just any kind of slide that's uploaded. And then the teacher would then create whatever sentence or phrase they want students to practice. And then the students, this is what the students see. They would click listen and hear that sentence read out, click and talk when they're ready. To try it the best they can, and then they'll immediately get a percentage of accuracy score for each individual sentence that they're pronouncing. And then even a replay button will pop up so that they're actually hearing what it is they said in case they had a mistake and need to make a correction for any reason. So a nice interactive activity that can be done at school, or even from home.
It seems that activity is really good for students to mimic the foreign language or target language that they're learning, right?
Well, especially if there are words that are new to them, so it's giving them some kind of context and giving them an example of how it would be used appropriately, that they're listening to it and practicing it themselves.
And then Melissa, on the left-hand side, I see images. Do these images then correlate with the sentences or the vocabulary words that the students would practice?
Yeah, so in our case, in our content, all the images are connected with the sentences. So as they complete a sentence, then it moves along with that picture. So the same can be done if teachers were creating their own pronunciation activities.
That's really great. That's giving the students or learners context clues. For example, when they don't know a word by itself, but that picture really helps frame the context. Great.
Yeah. I'd also.
What else do you have?
Oh, I've got. I like the segmented recording a lot. It's exactly what we promote. Really wanting to offer more speaking and listening opportunities. This is a perfect example of. It really feels like the student is having a conversation. So our segmented recordings have a lot of cool different buttons for previewing that audio to give the students confidence before they hit record, and then reflecting on their work and really being able to manipulate it in case they needed to make a correction in any way. But as an example, it is some sample responses. Something's going on in the audio, and the student has to kind of think about it, reflect, and then produce an authentic response to whatever they're listening to. So really cool. And again, very easy to create if teachers aren't using our content, that they can take any piece of audio and insert those pauses to elicit a student response.
So it seems this activity is meant for listen and comprehend, but I can see this also being used for listen and repeat, right? When the students have vocabulary words that we want them to practice.
Absolutely. So then, especially again, if it's a new topic, new words that they haven't had any experience with, just being able to practice saying those words correctly is a great way to start a new theme.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. On another note, if we'll highlight our content later, but I do like to say how easy it is that if there was an activity that was created, there's always this edit activity button, and then teachers can really adapt, or edit our content to make it easier or provide more of a challenge for students, there's always that freedom. So it's not, so structured and you must use what we have as we have it. Or if a teacher creates an activity on their own and says, "Ooh, this is nice, but I need to provide a little bit more support for some other students," there's always this edit activity button, or we can duplicate, and have an exact copy of the same activity to really, again, reach all the students at their level. So when I'm ready, if all the activities look good, the next easy step is to click to make these activities available for students. So anything before this point, students don't have anything on their side, but when I click change, then I always think it's like the mailman delivering these activities to students. And then I can just show you, this is the student side. So I really quickly switched over. These were activities that were made available and that students had worked on, so that you see it is by folder, whatever activities were pushed out to them. And it's easy, of course, for them to see what hasn't been completed yet and what has. Any activity that is auto-graded, again, those orange question marks or the purple kind of conversation bubbles, they will automatically receive that score, but the teachers can go in and then leave either written or oral feedback, which is really great, especially if the score is a little bit lower than what was expected, so that the students are learning from their mistakes. But also anything that would be scored by the teacher, any of those audios or the writing activities, like noticing this one, looking at that segmented recording from before, this is one that where it was a listen and repeat. So teachers don't need to feel any pressure to grade every activity. They can just leave a nice note giving that feedback or that praise too, so the students are learning, and it's not counting against them if there is no score there. So really easy for students to interact and know what work needs to be completed. And really quickly, from here, this is where they would access their usage report, which I'll get back to in a minute. Okay. But going to that teacher side again, if I'm ready to review student work, then I just go down to review work and then have all the options to look at activities that I have made available to them. I can click on the individual activity or on the student to see their progress. There's a nice graph here that will load and give me the average, for the activity as a whole and the average by student. And I know exactly what needs to be graded yet, or I can really zone in on activities that maybe didn't go so well and click right from here into that activity in order to provide that feedback or allow the student a redo if it wasn't so clear what was expected there. But then, go ahead.
Great. Sorry for interrupting, Rosa. That's great. You mentioned that students get auto feedback. Can you go back to that one more time and just tell us the different activities that would be auto graded versus the ones that teachers need to grade?
So again, that was, in within our content, we would see that anything with that orange question mark. So clicking in this is a text match, it won't show, not all of these are necessarily completed, but our auto-graded activities, they're a wide range. Of course, there's always multiple choice. We have a cool fill in the blank activity. I could click into one of those really quickly. But then we have word jumbles and letter jumbles and sentence jumbles. Fun activities if we're focusing on grammar or if we're focusing on listening, looking at a quick fill in the blank. This is something where they are complete, taking a sentence and retyping it. So this would have been auto-graded because it is that anything within that bracket needs to be exactly like what it says in that answer key when teachers are creating it. So again, students not just writing something down in a book and waiting until they get their paper back. Once they complete that activity, they're immediately going to get that score. And again, that score isn't locked down. If there's anything the teacher needed to add or again feedback that they wanted to provide, then they're able to do so.
So teachers actually get to put in the answer key by themselves, right?
When they're creating an activity. So if I went into anyone that hasn't necessarily been assigned, I can click and show you, oh, perfect, to fill in the blank. This is that kind of creative space. We can pretend that I had uploaded this myself, and this is where everything is typed. This is how we create the activity and how teachers would, that for the fill in the blank, for example, then it's just this squared off bracket, on my keyboard, it's next to the letter P. And then anything within that bracket is what the system is looking for. So if it was spelled incorrectly by the student, then unfortunately it would be marked wrong, or fortunately, because you want that high expectation for learning, not just how to use the word, but how to spell it correctly.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that tidbit of information. Sorry for redirecting you. What else do you have?
We looked at the grading, so I want to highlight that usage report. So you can find that by clicking on the student or otherwise in this blue house. If I click on the usage report, it's going to pull up all of all the students first in the class. It'll show their overall progress within the work that's been assigned, their time active, their total number of logins, and then by student, their time active, their progress. And what's nice is then it really focuses on the skills. And when we click on the individual student, then it zones in on all of those activities specifically, highlighting again what skills we're focused on for that activity. It's nice to know, what's been completed, what's been done. This means it was that, this I know is that segmented recording that I just listened to as the teacher, but didn't give a score. Nice also to see that time active, because a 50% is not what I would hope for as a teacher. But then looking that it took 14 seconds to complete, I know that's a conversation I can have with the student to say, hey, maybe you take your time, to really be reflective. So great, for students, because this is exactly the report that this student will see on their end. So there's no reason why they're not aware of what their current score is, or what, maybe their area of weaknesses that they need to work on, and really great information just to, have those, kind of pull aside meetings, or even, reporting to parents, letting them know their student progress.
Yeah, I was about to say, so this usage report is really good for progress monitoring.
Absolutely.
For the students themselves, but also obviously for the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's pretty exciting. You mentioned a few times that there is already curricula available. I know today we're really focusing on the teaching platform, but if you could just mention real quick a little bit about the curricula. I think we're going to have a next webinar series also on the curricula. Just tell us a little bit about what SmartClass has done with curricula for English.
Sure. So specifically for English, we have A1 through C. That's based on the Common European Framework of Reference. So it's really a complete curriculum focusing on reading, writing, speaking, and listening. The structure is the same throughout each level. There are 6 chapters, and within those chapters, it's broken down into 3 sections. There's vocabulary, grammar, reading and conversation. There's a let's talk section, review and assessment, really great, rich content. A lot of reflection went into that, because those authors of that content were teachers themselves. So they knew exactly what they felt was missing in curriculum they were using previously. So it's more than you could need. And I personally like that, as a teacher, I always had extra copies of this, or an extra link ready for whatever might happen. So that's our English. And then we also offer German and Spanish, currently at A1 and A2, and that's more of supplemental. There are a lot of great resources out there for teaching other languages. So that is really focusing on providing more listening and speaking opportunities for students.
Awesome. That sounds very exciting. So from what I can gather today is that with SmartClass, teachers can create their own content, or they can leverage the content that SmartClass has already developed, correct?
Yes.
And it's a curricula or curriculum designed by teachers for teachers.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great. Well, this was an awesome teaser. What I'm going to do is share my last slide for today, and I really want to thank the audience today for attending this webinar. We really hope that you enjoyed today's webinar and this product teaser for SmartClass. It was developed really with the focus to make the learners feel comfortable producing in the target language, because this is one of the main aspects that students struggle with the most. It's one of the things that we've seen in our teachings ourselves that has always been one of those challenges for the students, really producing in the target language and making them comfortable or being comfortable speaking in the target language. Well, for more information, please visit our website at www.robotel.com, or you can also contact us directly at webinars@robotel.com. And if you're active on social media, please look for us either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And yeah, we hope to see you again. Thank you, Melissa, for your time today. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.